Imagine standing in the sacred valleys of ancient India, 3000 years ago. The Vedic sages sit around sacred fires, chanting hymns to a deity who commands lightning, who rides across the sky on a white elephant, who defeated a serpent demon that held the waters of the world captive. This is Indra, and for over 2 millennia, he was worshipped as the supreme king of the heavens, the most powerful deity in the early Vedic pantheon. Yet today, most people, even those devoted to Hindu philosophy, have forgotten his profound significance. Why did the greatest ruler of the celestial realms fade from prominence? And what does his story reveal about the evolution of human consciousness itself? Stay with us, because by the end of this exploration, you'll understand why Indra's greatest victory was actually his own transformation, and how his humbling teaches us the deepest truth about power, ego, and spiritual growth. Indra first appears in the Rig Veda, the oldest sacred text of humanity, composed between 1500 and 1200 BCE. His name means the Supreme Lord, and the ancient seers gave him more hymns than any other deity. Approximately 250 separate verses celebrate his glory. In the Vedic cosmos, Indra is the king of Swarga, the celestial realm, the god of thunder, rain, and war. He rides Airavata, a magnificent white elephant with 4 tusks, and wields the Vajra, a thunderbolt weapon of unimaginable power created by the divine craftsman Twashta. But Indra's most famous victory comes from the epic battle described in the Rig Veda, his war against Vritra, a serpent or demon who had enclosed all the waters of the world within his coils. For thousands of years, drought gripped the earth. Crops withered. Rivers ceased to flow. All creation suffered in silence. Then Indra, empowered by the sacred plant Soma and fueled with divine energy, struck Vritra with his Vajra, splitting the demon asunder and releasing the waters. This act saved all of creation. You can imagine why the ancient people revered him as their supreme savior. In the mythology of the Puranas, the later texts composed between 500 BCE and 1000 CE, Indra's story becomes far more complex. He is not merely a triumphant warrior king. He is also depicted as vain, arrogant, and consumed by ego. He fears losing his throne. He commits acts of moral transgression. He is humbled repeatedly by greater powers, by the Avatar Krishna, by Lord Shiva, by the ultimate reality of Brahman itself. His kingdom, which once seemed eternal, is shown to be temporary. His power, once thought supreme, is revealed as limited. But here is what most people, even devout Hindus, do not know about Indra. In the Bhagavad Gita and later Vedantic philosophy, Indra does not disappear from importance. Instead, he becomes a profound symbol for something far deeper, the human ego itself. Just as Indra must learn that his power is not ultimate, that his throne is not permanent, that there exists a reality beyond his dominion, so too must every human being release their attachment to personal power, status, and control. Indra's humbling is not a defeat. It is an awakening. His story teaches us that the greatest victory is not conquest of the external world, but surrender of the internal tyrant, the I am the greatest, that binds us to illusion. The ancient sages were saying, Indra shows us the journey from ego consciousness to God consciousness, from thinking we are kings to knowing we are servants of the infinite. This is why Indra's worship gradually transformed in Hindu practice. By the time of the epics and Puranas, he was no longer the supreme deity. Above him stood the Trinity, Brahma the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and Shiva the destroyer, and beyond them, the formless, eternal Brahman. Indra became a custodian, a regent, still powerful but no longer ultimate. In the Mahabharata and Ramayana, he appears as a helpful ally to the heroes, but never as their highest refuge. The profound wisdom here speaks to every human life. We all begin in the position of Indra, convinced of our importance, our capabilities, our special place in the world. We work. We achieve. We collect victories. We build kingdoms of status and success. But as spiritual understanding deepens, we discover what Indra discovered, that there is a reality infinitely greater than our personal power. The seers of Sanatan Dharma were teaching us that ego must not be destroyed, it must be redirected. Indra's power becomes meaningful only when he uses it in service of Dharma, of cosmic order, not in service of his own glory. In modern times, understanding Indra teaches us something urgently needed, the difference between healthy confidence and spiritual blindness. We need strength, willpower, and the ability to face life's challenges. But we also need the humility to recognize that we are part of something vastly larger than ourselves. Every conflict, every struggle for power, every moment we feel threatened by the success of others, these are invitations to ask Indra's question, is this victory, or is this illusion? So as you move through your day, remember Indra's journey. When you feel triumphant, ask yourself, am I serving something greater than my own glory? When you feel threatened or powerless, remember that the King of the Heavens himself had to surrender his throne to find true peace. This is not weakness. This is the highest wisdom, hidden within an ancient story, waiting for us to finally understand. Subscribe to Sanatan